Welcome back to Power Platform PhD. This is our fourth and final video on our series of Power App themes. So Power App Themes 401, sticking to the numbering convention from 101 to 201 to 301 to 401. Many apologies for not having video. I'm having some issue with my camera, so it's just audio and screen captures for at least this video. Hopefully in the next one, I'll have this all figured out. So without further ado, let's move to my desktop. Before we move into the backend piece of this with SharePoint, let's do a little bit of a recap. So let's see, this is under the app. We have a couple of things that we're doing. So on the app on start, we're setting a variable and we're setting var theme and then setting to whichever theme you want to set it to. That's why this is orange. And then it gets set there. And then we use the var theme in this property theme. So anytime we change anywhere in the application, we just set this var theme to something else, and that's how we persist it during runtime. Let's look at the screens we have. So here we have a launching screen, which is this one right here. Then the second screen, if you remember, we basically had three sets of themes that you could choose. Most of this was hard-coded, and these images were actual images that we uploaded via the media tab. So here's where we have these PNGs. And then in the third screen, we actually created a custom component in the third video as well. So in the third video, we went ahead and made this a custom component, which is right here. It has three custom properties, so theme name, the image, and then how to set it. So this is the behavioral part of that. Then we use that on this screen. If I expand this a little bit, you can see we have utilized all four, the component 4 times. When you click on this one, it's actually going to set that var theme variable that we were using, that global variable, and then we say, hey, this is Valentine's theme, and then it goes back using the back function. And then going to the Power Apps one, same deal. If I do the set profile theme, set var theme to Power Apps theme, and then back. That's how we do it. So now let's go ahead and move on over to our SharePoint. Okay, here we are in SharePoint. For full disclosure, I have created a communication site with the blank template, so there's really not much to look at. It's titled themes, but let's go ahead and create this list that we're going to use. So I'll click on new list, blank list. We'll give it a name. We'll call this one profile or profile. Yeah, really like that. Click on create. All right, trying to keep this simple. We're going to basically have two fields in there, or two columns. The first one is going to be a text column. We could use a person, be a little bit more complex on how you handle stuff in Power Apps as well as Power Automate or whatever if you're going to use that. But just again, keeping this simple, we're going to create this as a simple text field. So I'll say this is called user ID. Single line of text. I'm not even going to change the defaults. Again, in a real application, you probably want to look at those to make sure there's no duplicates or whatever may be that's in your user use case scenario. For the second column, again, text, and we're going to call this one theme. And this is where we're going to list out what theme the user has selected. And then for some cleanup, we are going to and hopefully this doesn't break. Sometimes it takes a little bit, but let me go to the list settings. Hopefully this goes right away. So let me refresh. Sometimes it takes here, let's go back to the site and let's try this one more time. Sometimes it just takes, come here, where are you? Go back to site contents. Sorry about that. Profile. Sometimes it does this. It takes just about a minute for it to sync up. So list settings. Okay, there we are. So yeah, for cleaning some things up here, I want to go to the view, the main view, all items, get rid of this title. I don't like that. And then I'm going to add ID just to have it kind of show up on the view. I'm going to select OK. So now we have ID, user ID, and theme. That's all we really need for this. I'm going to go ahead and before I add somebody to this one, which will be the account that I'm logged into, I'm going to go into identity. So I'll go into my admin side of this. and I'm going to get the GUID for the user. So again, in a real proper application, you'd have somebody log in, you would get that in the back end. So the first time they log in, you would take that thing, cache it, create a new record. We're going to keep this real simple. I'm not going to go through all these different steps that you would do this in, but you're clicking on identity. If you'd like to see a more complex video, please let me know. Say something in the comments. But I definitely have a lot of videos that I would like to push out here in the near future. If that's something you want to see, I'm always more than happy to oblige. So let's go ahead. I'm going to click on users, all users, and we're going to go to our Power Platform PhD account. And then this is what we're looking for, this object ID. So I've copied it to the clipboard. I'm now going to go back into themes, say add a new item. And for user ID, I'm going to go ahead and paste in that value. And just for the default, I believe it's orange theme is what the default theme is. So I'm going to keep it at that for right now. And so that's just the default. So we should have this user ID and then what theme they're currently in. Now let's head over to Power Apps and see how we can go ahead and modify this. Okay, here we are back in Power Apps. We've created our SharePoint list. We've added the columns that we needed. So now we need to connect that to this Power App. So the way we do this is go to Data, and we're going to add data. Actually, we're going to add two connections here. One is going to be to the Office 365 connection. So let's look that up. Here we go, Office 365 users. This way we can check to make sure that whoever's logged in is the same person that we're trying to modify the record inside SharePoint. So we'll go ahead and select that. All right, that data source has been connected. And then now let's add the SharePoint one. Okay. Awesome. I already have a connection there from before where I was messing around with this demo thing. So here's the profile one that we just did. So let's connect to that. We should be good. And so going back to our screen, we can see that if we were to run this and then go back to SVGs, click on this, it would turn it into the Valentine one. And then if we selected, I guess, the SharePoint one, it'd be SharePoint, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, but that's really just using the runtime global variable to cache that back and forth and pass it around. So again, we'll look at that to see how that's actually being done. We'll select these theme components, and this makes a little bit of real estate. Actually, let me do this first. Get rid of that. All right, let's make some real estate. So we can see this is the variable, as we mentioned earlier. So we keep setting this. And then on this one, if you click on that one, the Power Apps theme one gets set. And then you click on SharePoint, and we go to the set profile theme, the SharePoint gets set, and then it does this back. So when you're on the screen, you click it, it sends it back to screen one. All right, so now what do we want to do? We want to try and get that SharePoint site all hooked up with this nice little record that we just created. Now, right now, if we look at it again, we're just pointing to this orange theme. So let's see if we can go ahead and modify that. So first of all, we'll do the Valentine's theme. Let's go up here and make a little area here so we can kind of try to do this out. So first thing I want to say is that in the future, I will definitely do a bunch of videos on Power Effects, including some of the functions that I'm about to use right now. One is patch and the other one is lookup. I'm not going to go too far into that, but I'll give you a little bit of an explanation. So we're going to just use the patch function because it's going to allow us to either create or modify a record. We're going to modify a record in this instance. So use the patch keyword, open parentheses, and then pass in whatever the data source, and our data source is going to be that profile. So if I click on profile, and then we're also going to do a lookup. So it's lookup, same sort of deal where you have to pass in what you're trying to look up from. So the data source is going to be profile again. And then I'm going to try and use user ID. So user ID was that column in SharePoint. So let me go back here again. So we're trying to look this up, and then we're going to compare it. So we're going to say look this up. So user ID, right? And then now we're going to get your logged in account. So based off of the Office 365 users, my profile V2, all right? And then my current ID was .id, right? And then This next part of the patch function is where you're passing in the data that you're trying to either insert a whole record or just a couple. You're updating something like you're adding in a column or whatever. So this is what we're going to do. So we're going to have to pass in an object. I like to close these out right away, but we are going to pass in theme, colon, and then we're going to pass in this information for this component. So the name of this component is theme component one. So if I start typing, I should get IntelliSense. So we go theme component one dot, and we want the theme name. And that correlates to this thing down here. All right. Okay, I'm getting yelled at. Why is it yelling at me? What is not looking good? Profile lookup, profile user ID. Oh, I see. After here, I need to close the parentheses. And this is not caps. There we go. It's always better to use IntelliSense, and then can't go wrong, right? All right, so this all looks good. I guess we could really quick check this, but let's double check. This says orange theme. So fingers crossed, we'll run it, click it. It shouldn't go back, or maybe it will go back. I don't know. I don't think it will. Okay, it did. But let's go back here and make sure that this changed. So let's refresh real quick. Oh, it did. It's now Valentine's theme. Awesome. So let's go ahead and connect the other two so we can kind of just flop back and forth between these. So let's get out of this, go back to component two. We're gonna do a little copy and pasting because there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. So Control C, go into theme component two, do Control V, and let's line this up a little bit better. Let's change this because now this is the second component. So we want to have this theme component two, theme component two. It does say Power App themes over here, so that's really good. I think all of these are correct. SharePoint, this one probably needs to be SharePoint theme. I'm going to fix that now while we're here. Okay, let's go back to theme component two. This does then set the global variable to that. This is all looking kind of good. Let's do the third one. Format this text, whatever. That's not really what I wanted to do, but let's remove the formatting. Do it this way. Go back up here. Now we want theme component three. And this is SharePoint theme. This is SharePoint theme over here. So I wasn't going to do this fourth one, but now I'm thinking it might be a good idea. So let's go to the theme component four. It was really just a copy of the Valentine's theme. So we're going to change this one and use one of the default ones. I think platinum. Yeah, there we go. Platinum theme. Let's go back up here and make sure we can copy this. Oops. Control C. I'm going to go here and insert it here. So Control V. Make sure that this is 4. There we go. Theme component 4, platinum theme. We also want this to say the theme name to also be that. So I think this one's good. The color is not going to change on this because if you remember, I'm using an SVG and there were some things you have to do up front. Just real quick, if I go here and you see in my formulas, I'm using all these SVGs and I'm inserting this stuff to kind of change these dynamically. I'm not going to create another component. I just wanted to show you more of the functionality. So let's go back to screen one and let's try and run this. So right now we're in platinum. Let's go ahead and say Valentine's theme. So if you remember in our profile, this was set up to be orange theme. Now it's Valentine's theme. Now, if we go here to SVG, again, we'll do Power Apps theme, and I'll refresh. It now says Power theme. So now it's being, again, persisted through a backend, if you want to call it, with a SharePoint list. And this is going to allow us, like if you had a full application, and maybe the user will log in. If they're a first-time user, you would take that object ID and then persist that to the SharePoint list. And then during their tenure, maybe give them a default theme, maybe it's orange theme, and then once they've selected through their profile, hey, I want to change the theme of my application to, whichever X, Y, or Z, then now it's going to save that for them. So one last thing, we'll just go ahead and change this to the platinum just to kind of show this for one last time. Click on that. It is now platinum. And then on the back end, it is also platinum theme. That's it. This concludes our series on Power App themes. I hope you enjoyed it. I plan on pushing out a lot of new content here in the near future. Please leave comments if you have any comments, and please like and subscribe. And I'll see you in the next one.